Every color analysis result I send out ultimately map to this chart, which is the three dimensions of color: undertone, value, and intensity. For instance, I'm a true summer. What does this translate to on this chart? Fully cool skin undertone, medium to light value colors, and soft intensity colors. I think sometimes in color analysis, we can get lost in labeling, for instance, like warm spring, cool summer. What does that mean? But ultimately, everything maps to this chart. And when color analysis started to evolve into 12 and 16 seasonal systems, they put names on the coloring categories, but ultimately all the categories map to the three dimensions of color. I often hear things like, why does the International Image Institute only have 10 palettes? The International Image Institute has 10 different palette references. So for instance, there's 10 different wallets, there's 10 different color strips, 10 different flags, etc. But ultimately, all results that are sent out map to this chart. And so based on where somebody's coloring lands within this chart, they may be suggested different references, such as add-on cards. For instance, let me walk you through a couple examples. If somebody is a warm spring, they actually, in the International Image Institute product references, they would receive the warm palette, and in most cases, they would get a spring add-on card. To look at a warm color strip, and somebody who is a warm autumn would also receive this color strip. And based on where they landed, if somebody's a warm autumn, they also might be suggested to get a autumn add-on card. What is the warm palette? It is a fully warm undertone palette. It is medium value range and medium intensity range, which ultimately are these colors. They work for both warm autumn and warm springs because all these colors are warm undertone, medium intensity, medium value. But let's say if somebody was significantly more obviously more to the autumn side, then an autumn add-on card would be added to give additional references to what is on the warm strip or fabric wallet, etc. And the same deal with spring. If someone obviously leans to the spring side, they would also get a spring add-on card on top of the warm reference. In the color references I send out, for instance, the color dimensions as it relates to undertone, value, and intensity are actually listed in the color dimensions section in the descriptions file. All this to say, if you're somebody who has received a result of, say, warm autumn and are wondering why you received a warm only reference, it's because of how you map to this chart. My advice, I want to get so boggled down with labels and color analysis, perhaps get a bit boggled down with your mapping to this chart. Ultimately, those other labels really don't matter. These are the three dimensions of color. What's the goal of color analysis? To have your three dimensions of color at your fingertips to shop with. The International Image Institute references and the results I send out map to this chart, so that fills the need of color analysis. If you really wanted detailed training on the International Image Institute and how it maps to this chart, or I'm not a salesperson for the International Image Institute, by the way, I'm just a fan, or if you wanted to learn another system and how it maps to this chart, I highly suggest enrolling or considering to enroll in a training program. As color analysis interest has expanded, I have found people want those level of details, and it's hard for me as a color analysis professional because I only offer a service where you find out your best colors and people want a bit more, so I create content around that. But if you really wanted extensive training, I highly recommend a training program.